Hello, this is Greg from SharePoint Maven, and in this video, I will explain to you everything you need to know about OneDrive Sync, the ability to synchronize any SharePoint library locally to your computer. So first of all, let me explain to you kind of what I'm going to talk about. So what you see right now on the screen is an example of a team site. It happens to be a client site, and I have different web parts, and of course one of the web parts on my site is a document library, and this is where the documents reside. And of course, if you want to work on the documents, you can pretty much collaborate with your colleagues by opening the documents and making changes, and you can co-author and check out and look up version history, all the various document management features that we have in SharePoint. However, and this is especially true for the users who are migrating from maybe file share, some other document management systems to SharePoint. Obviously, a lot of users are used to working on their documents from the convenience of the computer, the Windows Explorer. At the moment, right, in order to be able to access the documents, I pretty much had to log into this, SharePoint site and navigate to the document library and essentially work with my documents from, the web browser. What if I want the documents, I want that Windows Explorer experience? Well, guess what? It is possible, and that's essentially what I'm going to explain in this video. So first of all, I will explain to you how that works, and then I will explain some, important limitations and nuances and various capabilities that we have within OneDrive Sync. Let's first start with the ability to sync itself. You will notice that each and every library has the sync button. All right, so each and every library has a sync button. And when you press that sync button, two things happen. So two things will happen when I press the sync button. The first thing that will happen, the entire library, the entire contents of a library will be copied over to your computer, to your Windows Explorer. The second thing that will occur is the fact that a two-way connection will be established between your library on your computer and SharePoint. So any change you make in one place will immediately happen in another. So if you, that way, if you delete a document on your computer or you edit the document on your computer, that change will immediately be available in the cloud on the SharePoint site, and vice versa. All right. So if somebody modifies a document, that change will immediately be synchronized and will be available on your computer in your Windows Explorer. So let's now proceed and synchronize that library. Now you only need to sync it once. You do not need to sync it every morning or every day or every hour. You just sync a library, and that's pretty much it. From that point on, forward, the library, it's a two-way connection. So I'm going to click sync, and you probably didn't even notice. It happened so quickly. The screen, I guess, another, pop-up appeared and then disappeared. And guess what? Essentially, that means that we're done. The entire library was just copied over to my computer. So how do we now find the documents that we just copied over? Essentially, the whole library, all the documents were just copied to my computer. How do we find them? So the easiest thing to do would be to click on this blue cloud icon. So you're going to see when you do the initial sync. So by the way, since I already synchronized this many times previously, it obviously didn't ask me any extra questions. However, the first time you sync, it might ask you to enter your email address and a password and so on. So I have already done that. That's why you didn't even see it. But after you sync, you will get a blue cloud icon in the taskbar. So you click that and you click Open Folder. And let me actually expand this window so you can see it a little bit better and see what's going on in here. So let me explain to you what it is that you're going to see in your Windows Explorer. You're going to see a few things. Under the blue cloud icon, it will say something like your name dash the name of your organization, or in some cases, depending on the, if you have Windows 10 or 11, it might say OneDrive dash the name of your organization. But in those cases, if it says that, that's your personal OneDrive. So remember, how you have SharePoint sites, and then you have OneDrive, right, where you store your personal stuff, OneDrive for Business. I synchronize that as well. So all of this stuff, this is my personal stuff that I decided to sync. So that's what will appear under the blue cloud icon, and then, your name dash the name of your organization. Under the building icon, and then the name of your organization, these are all the different libraries that you synchronized from SharePoint. So, and the naming convention is the name of the site dash the name of the library. So you see I synchronize some HR document library. This is the site name. This is the library name. And you'll probably recognize this. You see the essentially this is my site name dash the library name. You can actually create additional libraries. If I were to maybe create additional libraries, let's say I create another library called I don't know, invoices. All right, just like that. And if I decide to sync that, I would then see, actually, as a matter of fact, let me do that right now, just so that I can prove the point. I am going to press sync. And of course, it just quickly synchronized. I really have nothing in here. But let's see what the end result is. Just like that, you see the site name dash the name of the library. So that's exactly how it's going to appear in your Windows Explorer. And if you notice now, essentially, yeah, these are the same files and folders you saw on a SharePoint site, but now they are on my computer, on my C drive. So essentially what that means now is that if I start, let's say deleting documents here, they will immediately be synchronized, and essentially the same documents will be deleted from a SharePoint site. If I try to edit some documents, those documents, those changes will be synchronized immediately to a SharePoint site, and vice versa. The next thing I would like to go over are those status icons that you probably see as well. Right here. So you do get that extra column that you probably don't see anywhere else on your Windows Explorer. But once you synchronize, your OneDrive or any SharePoint document libraries, you will end up with those status icons. Now, by default, you will get to see a bunch of white cloud icons. So what do those white cloud icons mean? Remember how I mentioned earlier that when you press the sync button, the entire library is copied over to your computer? Well, I kind of lied, all right? None of these documents are on my computer just yet. It seems like they're here, but they're not. It's just the file names and folder names, all right? So as I click on all of this files and folders, it seems like, again, I have the full folder hierarchy and all these files, but none of these files are physically on my computer. They're not going to be on my computer until I click on the document. So let me click on a document. Let's say I want to edit this Word document over here. I'm going to click on it. And you probably noticed when I double clicked on the document, briefly, an arrow appeared. Those arrows appeared, arrows where it was trying to pretty much sync it. Only at that point of time, the document was physically downloaded to my computer. And let's say I made some changes. I'm going to make some changes. Everything is auto saved, but I can just save it as well. And once saved, I can of course, I can of course close the document just like that. And you can see those arrows briefly again because it's instant sync. But look at this. Now I have this green checkbox with white background. What does it mean? It means that essentially the file right now is available both on my computer as well as in SharePoint. So it's physically on my computer. That's what it means. There is still a two-way sync, but the file is physically on my computer. Why? Because when I clicked on the file, at that point of time, it was physically downloaded to my computer. Now, what's the idea behind all this icons and this a download of documents? This feature is actually called Files on Demand, and this is on purpose because look, I obviously don't have a lot of files here, but let's pretend I have 50 gigabytes, 100 gigabytes of data, right? Some big files in here. Um, Obviously I might not even have enough storage on my laptop, right? And because Microsoft cares about the storage, right, or limited storage on our computers, by default it's files on demand. So what that means is that the files are not really downloaded until you click on them. And only at that point of time, the files are physically, once again, downloaded to your computer, and they do stay on your computer. All right, but again, it's still a two-way sync. It's still a two-way sync, constant two-way sync going on all the time. Now, let's talk about the ability to disable files on demand. Let me explain to you why you might need to do that. So here's a use case. Let's just say I need to travel tomorrow and I need maybe to walk on airplane, right? And let's say there is no Wi-Fi on airplane. All right, so I need, obviously, if I try, if I open up my laptop on airplane and try to open any of these files, at that point of time, it will try to download, and of course, it will fail. So it's not going to be I will not be able to walk on airplane. So in that particular case, I need maybe some files local on my computer. So here's what you need to do to achieve this. And this is something, of course, you will need to do, before you need to walk offline. So let's just say I need to work on this folder and everything inside. So I just need this. I don't need anything else on the airplane, just this folder and everything inside. So what you need to do is right click on it and you will see this option, always keep on this device. So you click that. And you will notice, once again, we see those two arrows once again. And once, essentially, at that point of time, everything is physically downloaded to my computer. And you will now get to see a third type of icon, this solid green checkbox. And solid green checkbox means that we force the download, physically force the download of this, in our case, folder and everything inside. So if I now click on this folder, everything inside got downloaded as well. You see a bunch of all this, different solid green checkboxes. So what does it mean now? It means that when I am on airplane tomorrow, I will be able to work on this folder and everything inside. I will not be able to work on anything else, all right, because it's a bunch of white cloud icons. But I will be able to work on this folder and I guess this file as well, because remember, I downloaded this one as well. Now, and when I land, when I'm back in the office, let's say with Wi-Fi, obviously the two-way sync will kick in and it will, push all the changes to the, to SharePoint side to the cloud as well. And with this particular option, you can, of course, be pretty selective. Again, you can download maybe a specific file, right? If you just need a specific file on your computer. In our case, right, we downloaded the entire folder. You can also download the entire library. So you see how I synchronize all these different libraries? And if I, let's say, wanted this whole library, I can say always skip on this device to the whole library. All right. And in that case, it will all obviously synchronize the entire library. Obviously, you need to make sure that you have enough storage on your computer as well. Let me show you now another option that's available regarding this files on demand feature, or the ability to disable it, I should say. So in our case, right, we just pretty much specified which folder or file we wanted on our computer. Let's say I always want everything on my computer. I really want everything physically on my computer. I don't want to see any of this white cloud icons. So what you need to do is the following. You will need to click on the blue cloud icon. So what we need to do, we need to disable files on demand. So once again, for that, you need to click on blue cloud icon, gear icon, settings, and under sync and backup. And then you need to click advanced settings. And essentially right here, files on demand. By default, of course, right, files on demand is enabled. If you need to disable it, you just need to click download all files. Now, I'm not going to do it because obviously, right, that will just take over the whole, Wi-Fi bandwidth. And obviously, at that point, it will physically download whatever you have in your OneDrive, in all of these libraries. If you have some large videos, everything will be physically downloaded to your computer. Again, there is still going to be a two-way connection going on, but at least now you will have the files physically residing on your computer as well. So once again, this is the button you want to click in that particular case. Next, let me show you what unfortunately happens all the time when users sync their libraries, from SharePoint locally to Windows Explorer. So again, I am on my in my Windows Explorer. The documents on my C drive. I am going to select a bunch of files and click the delete button. So I just click the delete button on my, on my computer, and obviously the files were deleted. Let's now double check what will happen on our SharePoint site. So I'm back on our SharePoint site. I'm going to click on Documents and look at this. Remember, we had many more documents in here. All of them are gone. Why? Because of two-way sync. All right, the two-way sync is always on. After you press the sync button, it's a constant two-way synchronization. And because I deleted a bunch of files on my, on my computer, it immediately, instantly deleted them from a SharePoint site. And unfortunately, this happens all the time. Users forget it's a two-way sync. So, for example, they sync a project, a library, and then they, maybe they're done with the project. They pretty much, select the files, click the delete button, and unfortunately, this wipes out the files from the library itself for everyone else. Now, obviously, if this is the case, the items go to the recycle bin, so they can be restored from here. But let me show you what you need to do the correct way to prevent this from happening. So what you need to do, again, here's a use case. Let's just say we're done with this project. We no longer need these files on our computer taking up, the space, etc. So here's what you need to do. You need to click the blue cloud icon, gear icon, settings, and click on account tab over here. And you will get to see all the locations you synchronize. So remember, I'm synchronizing my OneDrive for Business, and I'm synchronizing these three libraries: an HR library, our library with documents, and another invoices library. So what you need to do is press this Stop Sync button. And essentially what it does, it actually doesn't delete anything from your computer. It just breaks the link, the synchronization between your computer and SharePoint. So I'm going to do that, just like that. All right, and let me just refresh it. Here we go. You probably noticed You see, it didn't remove these folders. It removed the files, but it didn't remove the folders. But the status, the whole, remember, all the icons are gone. Why? Because I broke the synchronization. So now what I can do is I can either, select all of this and click delete, or why don't I just delete the entire thing? You see, I'm going to delete the entire library from here, and I can safely do that and nothing will happen. So if I now go to a SharePoint site and let me refresh it, nothing is happening here. Why? The files are still here. They're not deleted. Why? Because I broke essentially the synchronization, right? I removed the synchronization. So I can safely now remove the files from my computer without them being affected on a SharePoint site. Let me show you one other thing that many users don't realize, but this is a really cool thing. So a lot of, not a lot, but a few features that are available in SharePoint are actually available in Windows Explorer for the libraries that you synchronize. Let me explain. So let me first go to a SharePoint site. So if I right click on the document, I can do many different things to this document, but one of the things I can do is share it, right? This is where I want to share the document internally or externally, all right? Or maybe I want to look up version history in here, all right, for that particular document. Well, guess what? So, not obviously we have a lot more options in here because we're on a SharePoint site, but some of these features are available in Windows Explorer as well. So I happen to be synchronizing this HR document library. And if I right click on the document, OneDrive, look at this. I have some of the options. Again, a shorter list, of course, but let's say I want to share this document maybe with someone. You see, I don't even need to be on a SharePoint site. I can pretty much, again, invite internal, external users right from here, right from Windows Explorer. Same with version history, you see. Again, I only have, one version, I guess, but if I had multiple, I would see a list of them here. Or another option that's available in the cloud if you want to manage access, right? If you maybe want to set some unique permissions for this particular file and maybe remove some, groups or users from this file so they cannot see it, for example, at all. Again, this is something we can do on a SharePoint site, but this is something we can also do right from the convenience of Windows Explorer. So, and that's really great because, obviously, again, not the whole list, but at least a few features, collaboration features that are available in the cloud on the SharePoint site, you can also take advantage of from the convenience of, Windows Explorer. The last thing I want to mention about this whole synchronization is that there is a limit to how much you can sync. And that limit is 300,000 files and folders. This is actually an official limit from Microsoft. And let me explain to you what it means. So remember, I'm synchronizing my OneDrive for Business, and I'm synchronizing a few libraries here, maybe several additional libraries. If you add all the numbers, the number of files and folders in all of these locations, so all of the files and folders in this library, my OneDrive, and so on, and if that number is close or exceeds 300,000 items, in that case, you might encounter a situation when OneDrive Sync just will not work. What will end up happening is that essentially you will see the wheel spinning all the time here. You will be out of sync. So you might actually change the document on your computer and think that it synchronized the change to SharePoint. Well, it will never make it there. All right, it will never pretty much catch up. Now, it's kind of a soft limit. I've seen situations, some of my clients when they are, a little bit below the limit and it still gives them the issue. And I also have some clients that have more than 300,000 and it works just fine. But the best practice, if you want to avoid any sync issues, you pretty much have to have to assure that you only synchronize the stuff that you need. All right, don't synchronize every single library, that you see in SharePoint because you are quickly going to exceed that 300,000 limit, and you will be out of sync. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to mention in this particular video. Hopefully, you learned something new, and hopefully, you now feel more confident and comfortable with the whole synchronization thing. Once again, the main thing, just stay, well below that 300,000 limit as much as possible. Try to work in the cloud and collaborate with your team members and external parties from the convenience of a SharePoint site or a Microsoft team. But if you do need to sync the library locally, obviously you can do that. Just make sure to stay well below the limit, the synchronization limit that we have. So that's all again. I wanted to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully, again, you learned something new. As always, happy to see you on my blog, sharepointmaven.com, as well as my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.